I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching the Apothecary Diaries, Season 2, Episode 2. Last episode, we ended up talking about Lao Lin for longer than we probably should have. It
Basically
was
the whole thing.
Lao Lin talk. And at the end of last episode, we got shown a little preview of 2 new characters, potentially twins. I don't know.
In editing the episode, I noticed from the new opening that when you get this kind of kaleidoscope view of the different concubines, the one of the blondes is not identical. Their bang length are different in
It's
the
of each
OP
other?
as well. It is the 2 of them instead of
Interesting.
one person.
Hmm.
But anyway, I also had something else that I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Because I feel like
Is it about Lao Lin?
a tiny little
Okay.
point. It's not actually about her. It's about the kitten.
Okay.
I feel like the kitten,
Mau
Mau Mau the kitten, was used as a really lovely, great device in the first episode of the season for a couple points. One, we get lovely like name and nature comparison with Mau Mau the character protagonist to Mau Mau the kitten, and we get Jinji kind of going over this idea of what a cat is like, and ooh, maybe he really likes that. And then 2, we have the kitten kind of help us get a good look at this new servant girl that's
Lao
a
Lin.
character that's possibly Lao Lin that we kind of think is.
Okay.
And then I would say the most important one is number 3. And that was that the kitten was a device to introduce the idea of rarity and intrigue arriving to the palace carried by a cart / caravan.
Nice. Good cat talk. All right. You ready?
Yep.
Sweet. I mean this in the best way possible. This could have been an Oshinoko song.
Oh my god, Ling Li and was a huge part of last episode too.
The cat. God.
Why are we seeing the granny of the verdigris house, you know? Love it!
I think part of my delusion in the Lao Lin hope is just how happy I would be for her character.
今回のキャラバン、業者の数も商品の種類も多いな。接待担当の交換が進めています。そうか、大事な外交の相手だ。引き続き頼む。よい。
湿気も多くなってきたし、そろそろ衣替
Yes.
えをしようと思います。こっちは一時期すごく流行ったんだけど、流行り物って時期が過ぎると途端に使えなくなるのよね。古いのはどうされるんですか？職人が作り直して、玉葉様の故郷、裁縫で配るのよ。そういえば、もう少ししたら新しい次女が来るわよ。新しい次女？玉葉様のご解任で。今以上に人手が必要になるから。
Oh.
他にも理由はあるわよ。50人以上も次女や下女を引き連れて受代した貴族がいるんだから。
So we need a few more, okay.
Even out the sides.
水晶宮のリファ様のところでさえ、下女も含めて
Wow.
30人。
Gyokyo only takes girls she trusts, though.
おかしくない？
キャラバン。
前に来た時はマオマオはちょうどいなかったのよね。今回のはいつもより規模が大きいの。
New stuff.
花町ではさほど珍しくないけど、楽の少ない高級ではこの時の買い物が楽しみなのだろう。
マオマオも空き時間作るから見に行きなよ。玉葉様はこういう時いつもお小遣いをくれるの。あ、どうしたの？おしゃべりばかりしてないで手を動かしなさい。私も本ニャンに怒られないように気をつけなくちゃね。玉葉様、冗談はおやめください。
She gives them an allowance. I wonder if she is going to be able to get pregnant again. I hope for her that she is.
お呼びでしょうか、リファ様。
シン、これを皆に。
キャラバンの買い出しですか？手の空いている次女に買いに行かせます。
ええ、お願いね。シン様、診療所からことづてです。
診療所からことづて？
What the
Who
fuck?
is this? Like, Why have we never seen her before, you know?
いいなあ。私も新しい服とか欲しい。
着てく場所ないけど。
分かってるけど欲しいの。
病気にでもかかったらすぐ広がってしまいそうだが、そうでもない。衛生管理はしっかりしているからだ。汚物を捨てる地下水路は堀を通さず大河へとつながっている。
So cool.
この水道技術をやり手の女帝が利用したものだ。
最後の日なら少し時間をもらえそうなんだけど。
誘われて悪い気はしないな。
Oh. We have to teach her how to read so she can be hired as a lady in waiting for Gyokyu.
ちょっと奮発しすぎたかしら。
Never.
いいえ、もっと買ってもよかったのですよ。
Treat
他の
yourself.
ところはもっと買っているでしょうから。
水晶宮の侍女たちは派手に買い物をするだろうし、リファ費もなんだかんだ懐が深い。金剛宮ではリーシュ費をおだてて侍女たちが自分の欲しいものを買わせたりする。
That adds up, unfortunately.
ザクロ宮だとあれだけ派手好きなローラン妃は言わずもがな。
Flamboyant?
一部屋に入りきる玉葉妃は経済的だ。このタイプ以外の服はなかったのですか？
こればっかりだったわよ。流行りだからって言ってたけど。
Fad.
玉葉様の解任はまだ外に知られていない。普通なら客が好む服を持ち込むはずだ。玉葉様には帯を腰で結ぶような。
Interesting.
お腹が大きくなれば締め付けない服を選ぶだろう。それを踏まえた上で、あえて
We're fabricating a fad.
持ち込んだとしたら、
How?
明日は帯を腰でしっかり締めるデザインのものがあるか聞いた方がいいと思います。
Keep the suspicion at bay.
そうね。もっと違うものを買っておかないと。
We wouldn't want to be seen as only really buying designs that were less restrictive.
玉葉様と本娘様には伝わったみたい
Yeah.
だ。
How would someone else know?
玉葉様からお小遣いをもらったけど、これください。
No.
似合ってる。
Oh my
It
god.
does, it's perfect.
妹とやらがいたらこんな生き物。
Yes.
Yes.
ママは行きたいところないの？付き合うよ。
さすがに薬の類はないが、茶葉や香辛料はある。
I like the music.
それに最終日に来た理由がもう一つある。値引きだ。高級という特殊な場所で適正価格で品物を売るとは思えない。簡単にぼったくれると思うなよ。
Listen to her voice. It's inherited
Where'd you
through
get it from?
non-genetics.
ジャスミン茶か。
これください。
はて。元気にしてる。今医局にいる。
そっか、よかった。あれ、シスイもお休みもらったの？
She's sweet.
シャオランも来てたんだ。
シャオランと同じ娼服の衣を着ているということは、いつもの洗濯場を使っている女官なのだろう。ここ邪魔になるから場所を移そう。これ3つください。
ジョーちゃんに友達がいるなんて知らなかったよ。
ヤブ医者が大変失礼なことを言ってくれるが本当のことな
No,
の
look
か
at
わ
Jalen.
からないだろう。
Ah!
なんて名前？
盗賊改め。
なんか変な名前だね。
The Emperor gave it to
魔
her.
王の方がよっぽど変だ。
お茶でも入れようかね。
お茶は持ってきました。
じゃあ茶菓子だね。
He's the perfect cat dad.
Jasmine tea, she said.
Wow.
温めた器に入れてぬるめのお湯をゆっくり注ぐとこうしてつぼみが開く。
That's
な
cool.
かなか入れる機会はないだろうけど。
ジョーちゃんたち。
Whoa, they're like bunt cakes. Moon cakes.
I bet he's just happy that Mao Mao seemingly has friends.
Yeah.
にしても毎回こうなの？すごいお祭り騒ぎ。
Hasn't been here long.
初めてか。
Shisui's first caravan.
時代と共に入ってきたとすれば来て半年ほどなのだろう。
今回はいつもより長いの？
近々異国から特使が来るかららしいよ。
へえ、偉い人が来るんですね。
それ言っちゃっていいんですか？
そういえばさ、最近北側で変な匂いがするんだけど、知らない？は
Weird smell.
知らない。
の匂いね。あっちは荒れているからね。
We just talked about the waterway.
Uh-oh.
シスイは北側に行く仕事があるの？あっちは草むらが多いのだよね。
Whoa!
上手だね。
ここにはたくさん
This is the perfect friend for Mao Mao. What?
虫もまた薬の材料になる。カマキリの卵巣は精力剤になり、ミミズは解熱効果がある。
北側の廃墟とかいい感じ。でっかい雲がたくさんいるよ。
雲が大変でまだ試したことがないが、雲の糸には止血効果があるという。
行ってみる。
行く。行って
見て、これなんて綺麗な色でぷっくりしてて可愛いんだ。食べると美味しくてママもきっと気に入るよ。
Yeah.
We talked about disease.
Who is it?
キャラバンが去って数日。
We could also think the caravan could have brought. Remember in the first episode the idea of like causing miscarriages with scented.
裁縫の輸入品は香りが強い。装備か。この前作った装備水を売りさばけば儲かるかもしれないな。いや、匂いが強い装備の精油は妊婦に悪い影響を与えてしまう。今の翡翠球にを。
Oh no, the.
この匂いも。
It's on everything.
行かなければ流行に最も流されやすい水晶球へ。そうそうそう。
Because also, what if Lady Liuha was also to get pregnant again?
あなた、何のつもり？
Do you think it's from Shin's
水晶球の事情が
orders?
シンから抗議文が届いている。
Hmm.
お前はもう少し節度がある人間だと思っていた。
すみません。つい興奮して相手の了承も得ずにやってしまいました。
なんだその変な言い訳は。
反省はこのくらいか。これでも理由があるんです。
I missed this
それ相応の理由なの
track.
か。装備、安息口、青霧、入港に経費。
今日私が嗅いだ女官たちがつけていた香料や精油の名前です。どれも妊婦に害のあるものばかりです。
続けて。
Oh.
キャラバンには香油の他にも香辛料や茶葉も売られていました。ジャスミンには子宮を収縮させる作用があります。そしてカラシは妓女の堕胎剤によく使われる材料です。
Abortion medicines for
つまり
courtesans.
これらを使うと流産の可能性が高まるということか。
もっと早く気づいておけばよかった。祭りの雰囲気に流されていたのかもしれない。出入りの業者はわかりますか？
調べることはできるが、商品一つ一つの種類を事細かに記してはいないはずだ。
これってあれに似ていませんか？
あれってなんだ？
高級にあってもおかしくないもの。似ていませんか？リンリー姫を犯し、リファ妃の巫女を死なせたものに。
Mm-hmm.
毒の。
It's so easy with fads too, right?
つまりそれは高級内に毒物を持ち込もうとした者がいると考えていいのか？
私はここに入ってきたものの中に毒になりうるものが多くあると分かっただけです。それぞれは毒として扱われる商品ではありません。
So that's why it's easy to just bring them in.
他の妃たちにも注意した方がいい。
But you can't like accuse somebody just based off of these ingredients.
ウイエン、翡翠球にある香油と香辛料、茶葉の確認をお願い。
はい。
仮死状態から蘇り逃亡した女官、水霊の行方も未だに分かっていない。中市での暗殺未遂事件は多くの人間が関わっている可能性が高い。その手がどこまで伸びているのか、どこまでが憶測で、どこまでが確信だろう。
Good question.
Gotta be certain.
It's where my mind immediately went when Jinchi asked Safe to assume.
妃の部屋付きでなければ給金も少ない。キャラバンには興味が向かなかっただろう。香油が流行しなければ気づくこともなかった。今回だけこんなに入ってきたのかもしれない。どれが偶然で、どれが必然なのか、それすらもよくわからない。
It's hard to know if you've only been there for one caravan as well, you know?
Mhm.
それは毒ではなかったのか？
毒もまた少量では薬です。何よりお茶一杯でどうにかなるようなものではありません。それにここは厨房です。人士様の立ち入る場所ではありません。
細かいことを言うな。
ガオシュン様はどうされました？
伝令に言っている。俺にも茶をくれないか。
何茶がよろしいですか？
これと
What
同
you're
じもの
having.
がいい。
それで最後です。一度湯を入れても出がらしになります。
それでいい。
そうもいかないだろう。心を和らげます。不眠にも効きますし、目覚めの効果もあります。
Quite the contradiction.
妊娠中はよくありませんが、出産する場合、分娩を促すと聞いたことがあります。
いい作用の方が多いな。
ええ、だからこそ副作用が目に入らない。こういえば、ジャスミンには他にも違う効用がありました。
どんな？
不妊です。主に男性側が原因の。ああ、これはいかん。聞きすぎたか？何か茶菓子を。
This is the second episode in a row that we've gotten too close.
あまり好みじゃないな。帰る。
やっちまった。
中級妃である仁妃が亡くなりました。
仁妃が。
I wonder if that's who we saw that was sick? Poison.
まさか。
But a mid-rank one?
What? That felt like a part 1 of an episode. Okay, that was the Apothecary Diaries Season 2, Episode 2. That episode flew by for me.
It also was not necessarily what I was expecting it to be either, from what we got at the very end of episode 1. When we got the idea of this caravan coming, and then we saw these two women, you know, in the back of what seemingly I thought was the caravan we were talking about. I thought that they were going to be the focus and or introduced within this episode.
Me too. I think I would have been happier that way, because one of the things that came out of this episode is potential suspicion within the Jade Pavilion. And that is something I don't want to think about. I think I trust everybody working alongside Gyokyu, and the thought that there was a leak about the pregnancy, which could have led to potential issues. Obviously, so much of it's conjecture, right? These are all ingredients that don't at all need to correlate to an attempted, miscarriage attempt or anything. But God, like the implication in the clothing, and that was all that was offered. That's all my mind could think of. And then when Mao Mao said it, it was immediately understood by Gyokyu.
And Hong Young.
Yeah, which is great, but it makes me scared, you know?
We also know that there's always instances where someone can accidentally reveal information, whether very blatantly Gyokyu's pregnant or in some other actions that they do. Like, say a lady in waiting interacts with someone else and somehow they receive a message of the sort. Like, we get the doctor in this scenario.
Exactly.
And Mao Mao is like, should he really be saying what he's saying in front of these two serving girls right now? You know, that idea of like someone not thinking.
Unintentional leaks can happen, and especially when we get like the line from Mao Mao about how like, yeah, her sisters used to like let her drink sometimes. It could be as easy as somebody within the pavilion being like, oh no, of course we don't want alcohol in the pavilion right now. And like,
you wouldn't think it would be bad. And I think that is also carries through with the theme of the actual ingredients, that as Mao Mao has a really good line in this episode.
Oh, I know what you're gonna say.
And I'm looking for it. Oh, it's hard to remember the bad effects when there's so many good effects.
Yeah.
I think it's the same idea. Like, you don't think that what you're saying is going to impart what it is or could possibly, and you don't have any suspicion toward the people that you're talking to.
You know what's fascinating too? We're getting like a lot of things that don't seem to be the issue, or like,
yes,
like the sewer, like
there's a clouding of what is the actual issue here. There seemingly is a few different things, and they're all compounding at once.
And like I imagine that one would be natural, and you'd have to just get on top of it before any disease spreads, other than it being like an intentional clogging to try to spread disease. You know, if there's one that seems like a malicious intent, it would be the one that Mao Mao is focusing on, I think. But at the same time, I'm like, I feel like we're heightening how often things could really be a fucking assassination attempt or like malicious, actions trying.
What you're saying, the whole latter half of season 1, when Mao Mao even has the recollections about all of the different pieces that ended up coming together to fit into the scenario that Suri had kind of mastermind to some degree, or Suri and others mastermind to some degree. Those were spaced out across months, days, weeks, all of those different events that led to, Master Conan dies, and then this happens, and then the seaweed. And none of them were able to be connected because they were all happening so at different times and in different means of, poison.
Let's bring up, Concubine Jin for a second.
Okay.
Hypothetically, the assassination attempt or the miscarriage that we're trying to avoid that we're reading about Gyokyu could be happenstance. We're uncovering the wrong, what if somebody was trying to kill Concubine Jin and poison them, and we are so focused on Gyokyu that we're seeing the similarities that it could be towards Gyokyu, but no, it actually was towards Jin, and we only see, how it could have been, Okay.
But why would you... But you could also see it as a distraction. We get that idea of being easily distracted by the good effects of something. So then what if you're easily distracted by something that's so clear and blatant as actual poison that you're then going to miss the things that seep through the cracks that aren't as clear of an issue? Like the bad smell on the north side. Yeah. And the idea that Mao Mao even brings up the waste management from the West, the idea from the West that was implemented here, carrying the clean water, but the north side has this bad smell. Mao Mao brings up the idea of how, because of this management, it would help us prevent disease. So we have in this episode so many things kind of happening at the same time. We have fads, poisons, diseases. This series has the idea of curses, but so many of these things are being brought up in one episode.
Yeah, we even get the makeup callback, right? And the face powder. Everything could be just a coincidence, but it could so easily not. It feels like we're walking on eggshells constantly now.
And one of the good effects of the jasmine tea is to clear the mind, clarity of the mind. If there is a disease that's happening, is it a disease that, Gyokyu would point out, which would be ignorance of the mind? To her, that would be a disease inflicted on someone. Is ignorance the issue here? Again, like the face powder.
Yeah. Gosh. Of course they gotta give potential Laolin the coolest name in anime, Shisui. So cool.
It sounds, I feel like her Laolin's father's name is Shisho.
Oh.
And I could be
yeah, you're right.
Mispronouncing
episode 22, Shisho, Shishou, I believe.
I'm sorry, but that's is that a coincidence?
Is it an anagram? No, just kidding. But no, I don't know. I feel like there's not even there's no point to even focus on the theory anymore, because we should be focusing on whether or not it's true or not, who the character that's being painted in front of us is,
and
what their interests are, and what it could offer
to
Mao Mao in the story going forward. It was...
Get out of the grand scheme of things of theory and focus in.
It was hilarious to see, the joy that Mao Mao has friends, right? But on the other hand, that shared interest and that potential of being able to go over and get insects, get worms, be able to have somebody that you can dig in the weeds for, in episode 1 of the Apothecary Diaries, can offer us a lot going forward in other aspects of the story.
There's a distinction that's painted in terms of friendship for Mao Mao within this episode before the interaction with Shisui, where we figure out that we have such similarities, and that is calling Xiaolin a little sister. We're already starting to kind of paint a distinction here, and we're also thinking about Suri in this episode. This person who, in another life, Mao Mao wants to be in a room with this person again. She wants to talk to this person again. In another life, they would have been rivals and best friends at the same time, without it being to the severity that it currently is, And this is Mao Mao's chance at maybe an actual... a like-minded friendship.
Yeah. Since we brought up Xiaolin, 5 minutes and 50 seconds when they're talking about the market, there's like a really cute half-second animation detail I really liked. They're talking, I'm jealous, I want new clothes and stuff too. And then Mama says, we've got nowhere to wear it. And like, she says it just to elicit a response, and she side-eyes Xiaolin because she knows it's happening and like smiles at the same time. And I think that's just a great example of their friendship.
Mm-hmm. Another thing to bring up for this scene is that we're reminded how Mao Mao's position within the rear palace has changed.
Yeah.
She is back to being below a lady in waiting. She was at lady in waiting status. And if you think of if she had still been at, she has a line about her own, the fact that she didn't notice sooner about the scented oils and the caravan. She only went on the last day.
Mm-hmm.
And mainly thanks to her current position, she didn't go to the last day, but also the discounts, you know. But if you think about it, if she had still been in the lady in waiting status, she might have gone with the other ladies in waiting to get things for Gyokyu on an earlier day, like the first day, especially with Gyokyu being like a high ranking in the top 4 basically concubines. She would have gotten first pick. So Mao Mao could have maybe like discerned some of this stuff earlier if she was still in her current position.
Yeah. God.
It also has it so it's weirder for her to go interact with Lady Luiha at the Crystal Pavilion in the way that she does. The fact she doesn't, this new Lady Shin doesn't know who she is or is uncomfortable with her coming in the way that she does, files a complaint against her.
Okay, obviously there's the potential that without us knowing, Lady Liwa is also pregnant again, and the assassination attempt or the miscarriage attempt could be focused on her. Like we get her holding her belly, but it also could be just what happened to her and the hope that she can have another kid. Late Shin, you had said that you don't think that we've seen her. Mm-hmm. I can't tell if we have seen her before because she kind of reminds me of one of the ladies at the garden party. I'm gonna pull up another tab and we can click around while we're talking. But like
she seems to be in charge though, and we've spent so much time nursing Lady Luiha back to health that you would think that the person that's almost the right hand, like Hong Yong to Gyokyu or Fang Ning, you know, to Alduo, that person would know Mao Mao and would respect Mao Mao coming into the Crystal Pavilion to some extent if Luiha was okay with it.
Where do we see Lady Liwa within the garden party? Do we see
she
her
walks
entrance?
up with all of her people right after Mao Mao gets the pin from Lee Haku. Okay, you're almost there.
No, I don't see her.
Yep. And isn't it interesting that seemingly... Okay, so think about it this way. Gyokyu's bringing in 2 new people. We have Laolin bringing in a bunch of new people, like ladies in waiting. Maybe Luiha also brings in a few new people. These people are obviously coming in when the Mao Mao is now... No.
No?
No.
Why does she look so familiar? It's hard because like there are so many characters who also just look alike within the series. Intentionally or unintentionally.
Her hair color and stuff like that gives Suri to me a little bit, but that's about it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm on a tangent at this point.
Yeah, I think it's more just like the timing of the fact that I think the focus right now that I'm having in this conversation is the timing of Mao Mao having to leave being a lady in waiting. How she can still interact in her place within the rear palace has changed, and how that could then lead to issues for the concubines. You know, she's not there to directly help and impact them. There's barriers now for her interaction with them. She's only been like, you know, allowed to be with Lady Gyokyu because of the fact of the current pregnancy. She's not interacting with the other concubines in the same way that she had been.
Okay, give me one more, like, we can just cut we can just cut this out if it doesn't. When do we see Mao Mao's note get thrown away from Lady Liwa in episode 1? Because we see the reaction to both of them getting it, right?
Oh.
Is that her? It
That's totally
looks
her,
like
because
her,
the earrings
right?
too. The way that her hair's
no.
So, but why did we never meet her prior?
I felt like we do at the garden party.
I mean, when we were with Luiha,
Yeah.
nursing her back, where was she during the face powder smackdown?
No, you're so
You
right.
know,
And
like,
if it is coming back and that's the thing fresh in our minds, is that intentional? Like it.
she was here during the face powder time, Luiha losing her first child. Why is she back at a time period where the fad...
And she threw it away, you know?
Yes. This character has come back at a time where, again, her mistress, her concubine that she serves, could be pregnant. Because Liho rubs her tummy in a way that either is in hope for fertility, in hope that she's able to have another child, or she feels like she might already have, like, be pregnant.
She seemed like she was in an important place in episode 1, right? Is there a chance that she was, like, on stage with Liwa?
I feel like only the tasters are with them on stage. There's no way someone that commanding of attention is a taster.
I swear that we saw her again at some point in season 1. And I'm wondering so adamantly, because if we could figure it out, what if
it might give us another clue.
What if she went on leave or vacation during like this time? Like, what is the timeline of her actually being present? Because you make a good point of why didn't we see her?
Oh, here's an instance of why someone could have been sent on leave. So Gyokyu sends her nurse, the woman that nursed Lingli, home because the face powder makes her sick.
Yeah.
So what if she was that position? Like, she's there to be more of like the child carer help.
Interesting.
And so maybe she's back for that. But then people would then be suspicious that Luiho is pregnant again.
Yeah.
But maybe she left for... She could have gotten leave because she feigned sickness, And Luiho is as kind to her... lady... We get that idea that she's as kind to her ladies in waiting as Gyokyu is in terms of probably giving them allowances for this caravan. If you were to feign sickness, she'd probably send you home on leave. So what if it's like, I'm back now because I'm better, or situation at home with my family is better, so I've arrived back to
and
the
it could be like
to serve you.
When they were gone, they could be like whoever they could be working for, whoever they could be getting like orders from, could be what they were doing, And
we get this idea of old and new. So yes, Shisui is new, but Mao Mao is also painted as new because this is her first.
Oh no, it's not her. God damn it.
Mao Mao is also painted as new in this episode because this is also her first caravan. So this idea that this character that might be kind of new to us in the narrative isn't actually new to the politics of the Rear Palace.
Yeah. Interesting. I don't know. I wonder if... I don't think that she'd be like a red herring. Like, I don't think... Like, we get specific... Just such a really interesting reaction from the lady in waiting, too, to her, right?
It's from the clinic. A message from the clinic, and she seems maybe upset by whatever is written in the note.
It gives me, like, she's giving bad news. Like, she's scared of what Shin's response is going to be like. You know what I mean?
My immediate original response to this, before we went back and saw who she was in time, it gave to me, she is reading this message from the clinic that, maybe something with infertility, something with Liho where she actually can't conceive another child, or they're worried about that, or she did have a miscarriage. But now I'm reading this expression is dark.
Dude, what if it's like, okay, I know it's not even like that deep, and it's like, I know that I threw away the flower and it could have saved her baby's life.
Like bringing back a Feng Ming idea with the honey,
and I'm just getting news that apparently Gyokyu could be pregnant again. I have such, I don't know, ill will towards Gyokyu from that whole thing that I want my lady to be giving birth to the son so that I can advance. Type beat.
In the first episode, Mao Mao whispers to Jinshi about the rose scented oil that she's making, saying that the quack doctor wouldn't be able to be trusted with this information about Gyokyu yet. And that paints the picture, like we've already brought up, of like, if someone else were to accidentally find out or impart some sort of like message that makes it seem like Gyokyu might be pregnant, like at the clinic.
Yeah. God, I love the intrigue within the show because like I feel like inevitably it's gonna be nothing that we have said, but we already have everything that we need to know. You know?
Mm-hmm.
How are the two girls going to incorporate themselves into the story?
How are they going to incorporate themselves into the story? Amazing question. I think that something that could be happening next in the story is that we are going to have Shisui and Mao Mao go look for bugs on the north side. And Mao Mao is going to be able to inadvertently investigate this bad smell compared to investigating the good smells within this episode.
I like that.
And I think that something else that I would say I would want to watch again, the very, very ending, because I always feel like the last couple seconds of, sorry, I was probably banging on the table. The last couple seconds of the episode are always kind of the most peculiar, the most intriguing. We focus more on Hong Young's expression at the very end than Gyokyu. And I find that to be something of note.
I feel like it can't be.
I'm not suspicious of her.
I know.
But I feel like it could be the idea of painting, again, the relationship dynamic. That idea that Fang Ming was the one that killed Ao Duo's child. This Lady Shin and her place in comparison to Luiha. The fact that Hong Young, even unintentionally, could cause harm to Gyokyu. Like, she could blame herself for not realizing all of these garments could possibly portray the idea that Gyokyu could be pregnant. She could be mad at herself for having all these scented oils and teas within the house that could cause miscarriages. Her lady's favorite saying is that ignorance is a sin. This could be an expression of, my ignorance could cause the miscarriage of my lady. I need to be diligent. Or maybe,
I mean, we see her reaction, like, that it's played up as a joke, but like how she's so serious about like, what are you doing right now? Like, let's get back to work. It could come from a place of feeling like she isn't doing enough. She needs to be doing better. Like,
think of the stress of the position she's in. Not only does she actually care about Gyokyu and Lingli, but there is another life that needs to, the emperor's child, you know, also just in a politics perspective. If you are to blame for the loss of this child, like, Fang Ming wasn't killed because of the fact of like what happened with the child, but Hong Young's in a position, now we're seeing that she's in a very dangerous position. I would say even worse than a food taster, because who would be to blame for something happening to the concubine?
Dude, there's
probably
like,
the head lady in waiting that's in charge of the pavilion.
Paranoia would be so easy to have if you're living within these walls. I have
paranoia right now.
My last thing, I will try not to be annoying about it, is if Lao Lin is Shisui, I do believe that it feels like it will be a slower burn.
It should be, probably.
Yeah, and I think that's what energy I'm gonna put, like, predicting wise, like, going forward with it, and I love that. I can't wait to see it develop.
My thing that I'm gonna say on tagging onto that, just for ending off here, I feel like in order to possibly disperse any suspicion that you could have toward Lao Lin in terms of, you know, the conjecture, the suspicion of what impact she might actually be having intentionally, whether she is a villain in this story, those lines will either be much clearer or much more muddied, with Mao Mao gaining some sort of friendship or thought of friendship with her.
Completely agree. All right, you good?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.